I wanted to jump in and tackle this from a very different perspective, right? I don't think that above average women should date average men. I think that women have adjusted their standards to disqualify certain above average men with too much emphasis on social class. When we take a look at certain fields, certain degrees, what we qualify as education, we're only looking at formal education. We're only looking at the incomes of people who are white collar workers, right? I think that women have decided that social class has become so much more important to them than everything else, that all of these above average men are being pushed off to the side, even though they're equally yoked.
Alexander, $5. Why should that? Why should above average women in terms of education, income, and social class date average men in terms of income, education, and social class?
I think that's
You
a
want to take
triple.
a shot at that, TM? You want to answer that, or Marcus? You want to answer that?
What did you say?
Why
Why should
should
above
above
average?
average women in terms of education, income, and social
I'll
class
answer.
date average men?
Oh,
I'll answer.
that is actually we've solved this many times on this show because it doesn't work the same between men and women. Men already, if men want, let's say men were going out and saying, I'm going to ascend to the highest heights I can. He makes multiple six figures. If he said, I want to find a woman that does the same as me, he would have a hard time finding that woman. A
But
woman
wait,
needs
the
to
question
understand.
was, why should she though? We're not talking
Yeah,
about
that's
him.
what
Why should she?
you never let me make my point. I had to
Because you
set it up.
always bring it on the man. That wasn't the question.
I was literally
Okay,
setting
go
up
ahead. Go ahead,
setting
Marcus.
up the other side. Now I don't even know what the hell I was
Okay, go
supposed to
ahead,
say no
Mike.
more.
All
So
right.
for a woman, it does not work the same. Women, for some reason, someone told them that everything works the same. It does not. You have to realize that if you are a high earning, high class woman, then you literally have just reduced all your options in finding a man because the man that makes that amount of money does not want you. He wants a woman that's going to prioritize him, not work.
In
So
short
why
So
is
answer,
that beneficial for her though?
so literally women are going to have to grapple with the idea that you find something else to be interested in a man that is equally yoked to you because it's not money. It really isn't. When women say equally yoked and start talking about money, they're automatically wrong. So you can be somebody with a business that took off and you make multiple six figures and there is a man who is doing something comparable but he makes 75, 80,000, but he's literally in the higher percentage of earners of men
Oh yeah,
at his
that's
age
cool.
group.
Yeah, I
You
agree
see
with
what I'm saying? And but women need to understand that is how you match value of men. He's a good man. He wants children like I do, and all of those type of things. Women are trying to match men in terms of value with money, and they will fail every time.
So do
Shan,
you? Oh, go ahead, Marcus.
let me ask you this: if that same guy that's the average guy, what if he was extremely attracted to him? Would you date him then?
I think that women are. That's why they becoming baby mamas. That's why they got pookies.
So women
Pookie
that
wouldn't
shallow,
be a daddy. Listen, Pookie wouldn't be a daddy if she wasn't giving him a chance. If y'all sit here and say she keep having a baby by Pookie, she is giving him a chance, right?
So let me also say on this.
yes.
Remember that I said I would let my doctor daughter date an owner operator truck driver. He is a self-made man with the ability to create his own business, and he has the ability to scale his salary past what she makes. So that's what I call equally yoked. A person that can create resourcefulness, a resourceful man with the ability to create, find jobs, and scale something. That's somebody who's equally yoked to my doctor daughter.
I
Trucker,
think
yeah,
So
yeah.
I wanted to jump in and tackle this from a very different perspective, right? I don't think that above average women should date average men. I think that women have adjusted their standards to disqualify certain above average men with too much emphasis on social class. When we take a look at certain fields, certain degrees, what we qualify as education, we're only looking at formal education. We're only looking at the incomes of people who are white collar workers, right? I think that women have decided that social class has become so much more important to them than everything else, that all of these above average men are being pushed off to the side, even though they're equally yoked, right? I think women need to take a more realistic look at themselves about the definitions and the weight that they're putting on all of those things. I don't think that people are suggesting, you know, picking somebody that doesn't necessarily fit properly. I think it's more so there's a misalignment between what you're asking for and what you're reaching for.
Very
I
well said.
completely agree with both of you guys.
I agree with that.
Very well said.
I don't disagree. So I think the man that you agree, you just explained, Mike. I don't think we disagree with that. I don't even disagree with you. We're talking about the guy who doesn't do any of that. Like he's just, he's making a living as you know, he's okay with being the Walmart stock guy. Not that I know what stock guys get paid. Do they get paid? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not talking about that guy.
Okay, gotcha.
And in fact, the issue is that nobody actually expects a woman to do that. We're more so concerned because we're like, ma'am, what are you going to do? Because you're not the heart's desire of a man who has the same job as you. You love that job, and you
I beg to differ. I actually had a conversation, and I really wish I had one of those cameras where I can set up and have, you know, all the guys in a room.
Yeah.
And I do think that the guys that I did speak with, they did agree that usually when a woman is educated, it's the mouth, it's the attitude. They can do without the mouth and the attitude.
Mm-hmm.
But they all agreed that they did want somebody who was educated. They did want somebody who was.
We don't mean educated. We mean above average. So what I mean when I say above average, you usually find people. Only one person is supposed to live and breathe the job, right? So if we have a CEO of a hospital, he does not want to marry the CEO of another hospital. That woman, we already know, is going to prioritize just by history of what women are doing. Yes, in fact, most men are actually saying that's what they want, and time is proving them wrong. Because when a man marries a woman that deprioritizes him, he suffers. In fact, everybody suffers. He doesn't like anything that she's doing. So not only does she not have time for him, then she pawns off the kids to an au pair, and then he realizes this is not the vision he had for his family at all. So even some of the men that say they want that, by the time they get into a marriage with that type of woman, because all they're thinking about is the power couple narrative that women created.
So when I spoke, matter of fact, one of them is a CEO. Shout out to him. But the men I was talking to, I understand what you're saying. So let's take the CEO, because I think he was the only one who stated differently, but he's a CEO. Most of these guys are not CEOs. They make great money. They may be attorneys. I think, you know, they make in the high figure range, but not quite that high. Like 100, over 100,000, but not like, we're not talking about 200, 300,000. Yeah. Okay. So what they were saying is, yes, they do want a strong woman, meaning she's strong, because one of the guys he mentioned, you know, we don't have the wealth that some of our other races have, you know, so we're trying to build wealth for our kids. So we both need to build so that it can trickle and our kids can benefit from that. So yes, I do need her to be strong. I do need her to be educated. I just don't need her to have an attitude when she comes home. So they do want those things to build wealth, but they don't want the attitude that comes along.
And the where they go wrong, because you're absolutely right. I've heard men, dude after dude, describe what they want as strong. You want an industrious woman. The fact that she has a mouth, and that literally comes standard in other ethnic groups. Every man wants an industrious woman. The word that family is derived from actually means group of workers. Meaning everybody in the family is supposed to be a worker. If this was a farm and land, and I'm the man and you're the woman, and I have this wife, that wife, we are all working. Even the woman that stays home, she gets up the earliest to cook breakfast for everybody before they go to the farm. Like you see, so it's supposed to be, everybody's supposed to be industrious, and I think it's natural for a man to want a woman like that.